everybody, and welcome in to Blue Jays Today, guys, where we have got to talk about all the latest Toronto Blue Jays stuff. That entire Houston series, we are going to go through the pain of reliving that with all of you. I mean, if you're a sucker for punishment, you're at the right place right now, guys, because we're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down. We're going to discuss what they need to do better in this upcoming series as well against New York, who's off to a great start, who I hate to admit are looking like a bit of a wagon right now. Like, there's a lot to talk about in Blue Jays land, and I mean, I know it's 100% early right now, but already you are starting to see some concerns arise about this team, about this offense, a lot of questions about the management, the coaching, the everything.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that and more. I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog.
I'm your host, Adam Peddle. Yeah, there is a lot to talk about. The offense in particular, I mean, the first comment in our live YouTube chat right here in capital letters says, "We want Schneider." We talked about that on our live play-by-play a little bit, but we're going to talk it down and break it down just a little bit more in some details. Nick's pulling out, if you're on the video platform here, the free Schneider. Throw it up there. Throw it right over that trademark logo right there. That looks good.
There you go, everybody.
For those listening on the audio, Nick's putting the free babe right across.
There you go. Let's not forget. Let's not forget, okay?
We can't forget. We can't forget. We'll get into this series. We'll predict the whole series of the Yankees, and we'll talk about that. I actually have a lineup I posted on my own personal Twitter of what I think they should play. They won't do it, but it includes Babe Schneider batting fifth. But let's get into it, guys. Let's just get off right at the top.
Yeah.
Houston series, they lose two. They barely won one because of our boy Babe Schneider. Overall, let's start grand. Okay, overall feelings now that we're a day removed from losing the last game of the season.
You know, it's funny, actually. Like, typically when you're in it, I feel like you have heightened emotions and, you overreact about things, and then you sleep on it, and the next day you look back and you're like, oh, you know what, that's ridiculous. Actually, like, we're okay because of X, Y, and Z. It was kind of the reverse for me in this specific series. Like, when we were in it, I was like, oh, you know what, it's early, and it's no big deal. Like, there's 162 games. This is nothing. And then I slept on it, and I woke up this morning, and I kind of relived the events in my head, and I was like,
trauma. That's trauma.
What? Yeah, for real. No, but it was like, holy shit, like, and I told you this off camera, that might have been one of the worst series that I've ever seen in my Blue Jays tenure, and I watched a lot of bad series, guys. To walk away with any win from that is a goddamn miracle. But holy crap, that was bad.
it was, and I do echo your thoughts. I mean, how often have we seen the Blue Jays in the last, let's say since we began this channel about 4 years ago, how often have you seen us get no hit, one hit, and then barely win? Like, if we got swept, that would have, definitely been it.
Yeah.
We're lucky to leave that series with a win because of Babe Schneider. But obviously, you're right, when you wake up this morning, you really do think, like, damn, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? And I wanted to throw out a little Hazel May tweet right here who's quoting John Schneider, the Blue Jays manager. Want to see if y'all can still hear me. You can. Awesome. And she's quoting John Schneider. He says, "You don't want to say it's early because every game matters. It's not for the lack of effort. It's not for the lack of anything. These guys can hit. You don't want to make any knee-jerk reactions. These guys are professionals. But when you're a fan watching, of course you're going to make knee-jerk reactions at this early point in the season." I do want to say, yes, I do think it's early, and there would be, if this were to happen, again, I always say this, if this were to happen in August, we would probably not be making so much of a big deal. Be like, oh my God, that was bad. What's going on in Houston? Let's move on, because we've already seen what this team could be. We haven't seen what this team could be, so I think that's why the knee-jerk reactions are kicking pretty hard for a lot of us right now.
Right. Well,
we're looking for answers.
Well, I said this again off camera, but what Ryan says right there, you guys can see it on camera. Well, Ryan tweets back where he says, is it really early if it's the exact same problem they had last year? And I think that's a great shout, actually. Like, that is just like an awesome comparison because, yeah, it's early in 2024 in this season, but this has been the narrative that's been painted all offseason when we didn't go out and we didn't get any of the big bats, when, Cody Bellinger and Juan Soto and Shohei Ohtani all decided to go elsewhere, and, we decided to get Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Justin Turner, who is kind of the only one who's doing anything right now, and bring back Kevin Kiermaier, and that was like the offseason for the offensive side of things, right? So this has been the conversation for over 12 months right now. So yes, it's early in 2024, and of course, I'm still buying in on this team and believing that they are going to make those adjustments because I have to. I got to tell myself that. But I also completely agree with what with Ryan just tweeted back saying, you know what? Hey, we've been dealing with this shit for a while now.
And I think on a surface level, you could really look at it and go, yeah, I agree with Ryan. I mean, there's nothing I can disagree with Ryan because they're doing it, right? They're actually doing the same thing on the field. But again, it's a new offense, right? So you really have to buy in. If you're really going to buy into the Don Mattingly, Donnie baseball way of offense, and that these guys are going to go to their strengths, we have to give it a little bit more time. Maybe it's the early going of the season. Maybe they're a little bit anxious and they want to create something. It's pretty obvious when you see the pitch selection that they're anxious to get base hits. So not selecting a pitch and sticking to a game plan, meaning pick a quadrant, pick a speed, and sit there. They're expanding. They're going after pitchers early, getting down in counts. And then what happens? Well, now I have to chase your changeup, which got us a lot last series. I think the Blue Jays, they need to be able to calm the hell down. Thank God there's an off day today. We really needed it for us to refocus, maybe have a little team meeting, a little meeting with Donnie Baseball to get back on track. Look, what you did in spring training was good. Yes, you got a lot of your pitches because there are a lot of bad pitchers out there just trying to find the zone. So you got a lot of those meatballs and you were hammering them, but we got to have that patience here even when it's a little bit borderline closer.
Well, just a reminder to everybody, okay? I mean, I recently watched Moneyball again. It's like my second or third time watching it. But just a reminder, folks, those Oakland Athletics.
Oh no, the
damn,
Babe Schneider
that's a
foul.
bad.
That's
a bad
a sign, everybody.
That's a really bad sign. But the Oakland Athletics back then, early 2000s, Billy Beane, they started off horribly. They started off terribly, and then they turned it around, and they went on to exactly.
Dude.
So you never know, guys. It could always turn around.
We could win 20 in a row.
All of that being said, though, I know that you tweeted something out earlier today, kind of highlighting some of the offensive woes. While you're pulling that up, quick shout out to 3 Point James here saying trade for Luis Arias. Oh boy, we might have to at this point, considering where we're at right now. Yeah.
This one?
No. The first one to the left.
This one, okay.
Yeah.
You tweeted this out, right?
No.
Oh, this must have been Dylan.
Okay.
Shout out to Dylan.
There you go. All right. Either way, everybody, the Toronto Blue Jays in 5 out of their 7 games have scored 2 or fewer runs. Were shut out in 2 out of 7. Just not what you want to see, guys. And there's definitely more than one person to blame here. When we pull up the Blue Jays stats as a whole from the year so far, again, extremely early. All the sample sizes are small.
You want
and
players
like that?
Players or team here?
Let's start with team because
this
is a great beginning point to kind of just put some fuel to the fire of this. Toronto Blue Jays, second worst right now in the MLB when it comes to batting average. They actually were the worst, and then the New York Mets have been playing today. They're awful, by the way.
Bad.
They're just completely terrible at baseball right now. So shout out to Wardy NYM. He's going through it just like us.
We feel you, bro. Except maybe not, actually.
Well, he's down really bad. He's down really bad. But either way, folks, not where you want to be. You do not want to be in the mix with the Chicago White Sox, and the Oakland Athletics are down there, and Miami and New York Mets. Not good. OPS, terrible. I'm sure we're right down there with runs.
Yeah.
7th, that's bad. Just across the board, offensively speaking, like we're just not doing well at all.
Right. Yeah, it is bad. I mean, yes, it's early because you see some guys up here that are actually kind of winning games. I mean, if you're looking at just runs scored, there's the Tigers who are undefeated right now.
That's kind of crazy.
It is kind of crazy. Granted, they have one less game than us, so that is something to consider. But it's early. It's early. And the pitching, too, is as well. If we flash over here, we're not doing that much better pitching. Like Chris Bassett's been off to a horrid start so far. I mean, Bout of France has got blown up, right? We have some pretty bad performances. Toronto Blue Jays were ranked 7th worst in ERA. So, so I want to get on the offense a lot. Pitching also has been there too. Granted, you're also facing great teams, but you have to have your pitchers beat the good players, and we're just not doing that in the early going. I wanted to pull up. I wanted to start kind of picking and diving in to a few players right here. Overall offense we know has been bad. We haven't been scoring runs. Why? I kind of gave my explanation. I don't think that they're... Oh, yeah, we're flashing over to the Patron members. Didn't even realize I was up. Shout out to all the Patron members. I gave my explanation on, they need to start selecting pitches more, and like that's kind of like the way to get out of it. Do you have anything in your mind of like what you've seen and like how they can actually change their ways?
Well, I'll tell you right now, the pitching and the hitting ties very closely to me because this team, as we know, is terrible when they're playing from behind, guys. The second that the Toronto Blue Jays get down by more, even if it's just one run for crying out loud.
I mean, literally yesterday we were down by 2, and you're like, I feel like it's tough to get back.
And did we ever?
No, we don't.
No, we did not. It's like when you're starting to get into that range, if we're down by 2, we're down by 3, and then, God forbid, we're down by more than that. It does feel like these guys, and it's the same guys that have been doing it for years. I'm really looking at Guerrero, and I am looking at Bichette, and I'm looking at all of them, actually.
Right now,
They get in their heads, they expand the zone, they start swinging at pitchers' pitches, they get down in counts, they're making it easier on guys. Like, I feel like sometimes, you could throw anybody out there, and it's like, they'll toss 2 balls, but it doesn't matter because they're going to swing anyways because they're trying to get themselves back into it. So I think that, you have to stress patience as much as possible because the only one who's had any patience right now is the only guy who's actually doing very well, and that's Justin Turner. So, I mean, quick shout out to Justin Turner over here. Looking at all the player statistics, this guy's batting .318. This guy's got an OPS over 1. This guy's taking walks. This guy's coming up clutch. I'm liking what I'm seeing.
I'm feeling pretty good about that wheel spin I had. Now I'm looking at that.
No kidding.
He's literally the only guy doing anything. Yeah, I mean, you had this is where in the short sample size things can really change because we're looking at Guerrero in that series. We're like, wow, like he's off to a great start, and then he's been struggling, and now his OPS has been cut in half. That's what happens in one series.
Yeah.
But if you really want to just, I could just say it lightly. Yeah, just summarize it. The whole series in Houston, ass. Wipe it away. Again, it could have been something in August that could have just been bad, and we would have been not thinking about it this much. You got to be able to bounce back in New York. We're going to get to that series after, but just overall offensive players, we've got to wipe away in the series and do better. Let's start talking about some of these players.
Well,
man.
I want to pick a little bit on Kevin Kiermaier here.
Yes,
okay, I
yes.
do want to pick on Kevin Kiermaier a bit. Now, listen, I love KK. Okay, I don't want to hear any don't stop hating on Kevin Kiermaier because I don't want to hate on him, but I do want to pick on him right now.
We got to pick on guys.
He's got 1 hit so far on the season. That happened in the first game. Since then, completely hitless. And frankly, guys, the last 5 games at the dish, which he has been hitless in, the guys look kind of lost. He's looked kind of lost up there. I feel like we are very late on the fastball. Now, again, and I was thinking about this because I was going to tweet something about Kevin Kiermaier today, and then, I was like, what, maybe I'm going to hold off from doing that because I thought back and I was like, who was a veteran that we had in recent history that started off terribly, like looked like he just did not belong at the MLB level at all.
Brandon Belt.
And then, and then turned it on, right? That was Brandon Belt. So there's absolutely still time for Kevin Kiermaier, and I do think that, that there is an outcome here where he turns it around and starts looking really good. And again, we're only looking at 1 week, but it is, I guess, more concerning to me because the second half of last year as well was really pretty rough for KK.
Yeah, it was. I mean, he's also 1 year older now. I mean, the way this guy plays defense hard, it's tough to keep that guy on the field. I mean, you talk about catchers, how like their offense is hurting because of what they have to endure behind the plate. KK's throwing his body out there, around there. He's running hard out there. He's 33 years old. He's not a kid anymore. And in terms of offense for KK, you're right. Like upstairs fastballs is a black hole in his swing. He can't get to that. And then when I'm referring to picking a quadrant, like that quadrant's got to be out of the mind. You got to stick your sights low. He's been chasing early in the counts. Like, let one go up there. Let the umpire call it a ball if it's borderline, right? That happens. Sometimes you're going to get those calls in your favor. And then the pitcher goes, okay, I'm not getting that call there. Where can I go? I establish the high stuff. Maybe I'll try something soft low. Look for something down there. The worst thing you could do is show them that I am going to chase upstairs and I am going to miss. What do you think is the next pitch that's coming?
Right.
Another upstairs fastball, and I'm going to miss, and I'm going to strike out. So for KK, in order for him to turn around, he's got to be able to stick down low, lay off the high stuff. But for me personally, looking at KK's future with the Toronto Blue Jays, I thought about this preseason. He had a great year last year. If he goes down and regresses, which we kind of expect that he will, he thinks he's going to get better power offensively. I think realistically he's going to regress just a little bit. If he does that, okay.
Right.
Because we have other guys like Davis Schneider, Kevin Biggio needing reps that I'm kind of more excited to see what they can do offensively than him. Yes, we're going to lose out in the Gold Glove defense, but not to say you can't come in later in the game and take over after one of those guys if he needs to. I think right now we need offense more than the defense for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Okay, well, listen, Sophie comes with a great point right here. This is actually something that Adam and I were talking about earlier. Shout out to Sophie, who's actually called in and asked a question, by the way. We're going to answer some questions from some viewers in a little bit. But Sophie says, I'd play Varsho in center field tomorrow and Babe at left field. We said this exact same thing on the subway home today, guys. Literally this exact same thing. You take Kevin Kiermaier out of the lineup for a day because he's struggling. He's really struggling right now. You put Babe in there at left field. You move Varsho over to center field. I know that you got your ideal lineup right here. You want to go through it real quick.
I'll toss it. I actually don't have Schneider at left field just because I thought maybe Kevin has looked a little bit better in the outfield. Kevin doesn't play too much on left field, but it's an option if you want to throw him out there. I wouldn't mind either way. You can flip-flop them. But yeah, like for me personally, this lineup will not happen. I already know it won't because you're not going to see Kevin Biggio batting sixth. For whatever reason, for me, it's simple, right? When your offense is struggling, how do you get out of it? We got to put together our hottest hitters. We don't have a lot of hot hitters.
No, we don't.
We don't at all. You got to keep the top four intact because you know that's your top tier players. Davis Schneider's the next one up. Kevin Biggio has been being clutch, driving in runs this year. You put him there. IKF, he's been doing decent. Then you got to do the lefty kind of thing and put Varsho down there. Has been struggling. Servin's in there for me tomorrow because Kirk has been struggling right now. He's been playing in the last 6 of 7 games as a catcher. That is a lot of games. Give him another day off. Have Brian Servin in there. For me, this is my ideal lineup. It will never happen because John Schneider likes to do his own thing.
W's in the chat for the person that just subscribed, by the way. But, well, a big problem here, too, is we got to even see Davis Schneider in the lineup to begin with, folks. We're seeing all of the free babes in the chat right now, and that is a real thing that's transpiring, okay? Davis Schneider hits a massive home run. Biggest, I was going to say biggest home run of the series. Actually, just the only one, and really one of the only hits, actually, of the series against Houston that mattered against Josh Hader, one of the best premier closers of all of baseball in the MLB. Blue Jays fans were hyped. We were hyped. We did not deserve to be in 3-3 at that time, but we were thanks to Davis Schneider. And then, you had John Schneider come out the next day and bench him. I know that you already know this, but we had to flash this article, because I think that this is just fucking beautiful comedy. You could not have scripted this content better. Ben Nicholson-Smith on April 3rd, that was yesterday, before the game, he said, John Schneider is well aware that fans do not like this move and says he gets it. He just believes this is the best way to win tonight. We'll see how it goes. We lost that game 8-0. We got 1 hit.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Why are we not playing? Like, have we learned our fucking lesson right now?
Yeah. Look, and I get it, but I also don't get it because he had a plan, and the whole management had a plan coming into the series. Okay, these are the pitchers we're going to face. Who are our guys that can beat this? Oh, Javier's got a high fastball. Schneider struggles with the fastball. He's going to be out of the lineup. He'll be in, though, on game 2. And that was the plan. But when your dude wins you the series and you don't put him back, you got to be able to change plans. I said this on the live play-by-play. What's frustrating to me about John Schneider is that he sticks with the plan. He sticks with what the khakis, as Kevin Barker likes to call it on Blair and Barker, upstairs saying you have to roll these guys out, you have to do this. But you're the manager of a Major League Baseball team. You gotta, I hate to use this term, you gotta grow a pair and take claim of your team. You gotta make the lineup that's gonna be best for your team when your team is struggling. You gotta put Davis Schneider in the lineup after what he gave you on that day. And I think after this series, if he doesn't learn that at this point, what the hell are we doing with John Schneider as manager?
Well, exactly, right? I mean, John Schneider, this is as much an evaluation year for John Schneider as it is the offense, as it is for Shatkins, as it is for everybody. So he's got to figure it out, and I hope that he is... I mean, I say this now. I thought I said this after the wildcard series. I thought I said this after multiple series last year. But I hope that we're learning that, look, right now the analytics department is going to run this team into the ground. The only analytics that I need is that in the 2 games that Babe Schneider has started, we have won.
Yep.
We are, 1-4 outside of that? I know it's a small sample size, but he started in 2 games. We've won 2 games. He's in a home run in both of them. That's all I need to know, man. That's all I need to know. Put him in the goddamn line.
And I've broken it down on a video earlier today. If you guys haven't checked it out, I'll kind of paraphrase a couple things from that video. Look, he's a mystery box. That's what I've described him. Let's unlock it and find it out. In the short sample size that he's been to the major leagues, his OPS against lefties, yes, it's phenomenal. It's 1.2. It's amazing. Congrats. You smashed lefties. That's going to be awesome when there's a lefty on the mound having Davis Schneider up there. But against righties, in very similar at-bats, mind you, even when he was struggling in August, facing a lot of righties, his OPS was 841. So what does that tell you? Also, one of his homers last year, off of a righty, high fastball. So your whole thing about Javier, he's struggling against high fastballs? Okay, cool. Who also struggles against high fastballs? Vladimir Guerrero Jr. What does he do? You still bat him against righties who throw high fastballs. At some point, you got to transition Davis Schneider from bench utility guy that's only going to platoon and play when a lefty starts to a starting regular everyday player. He can go and move around the diamond. He's still a utility player, but he's a starter now for you. That's where he's got to be for me moving forward in this month.
Yeah, exactly. And again, if you're going to have somebody like a Kevin Kiermaier go over for the last 5 games, like, we just don't have the luxury anymore to be focusing on outfield defense when we're putting up 0 runs.
That's right.
Because at the end of the day, like, you're never going to win if you put up 0. So we need somebody in there who's actually going to hit. Babe Schneider, at the very least, has the potential to do so. And again, Sophie, you're the best. Sophie posted a video on Twitter, I think it was today or yesterday or something like that, talking about this whole debacle. And, you know, she put it perfectly in saying, how is this guy ever going to get better if he's not playing?
That's right.
And, you know, we're always thinking about all these other things and these matchups and blah, 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 blah. Well, the whole thing of this offseason was internal growth. How is this internal guy ever going to get better?
To the core.
Yeah, literally.
He's part of your core now,
you know,
boys.
If you don't put him in the lineup, it's just stupid thinking. I want to say it's a new school mentality because it's analytics, but it also feels like old school because it's just dumb. You know, it's all stupid, man. It's all stupid.
It's funny, actually. I shout out to your girlfriend Victoria who came in here. We're actually talking about the whole, like, we were heated, you know, in the last couple of days for not putting Davis Schneider, but we were talking, and because she watched Moneyball with you, and she's like, oh, it's kind of like Moneyball, but I was like, you know, it's kind of like Moneyball, but literally flipped. Because instead of the GM being like, hey, we have to do these analytics, it was the old school mentality. We're like, no, but he looks like a guy.
Right.
But now it's flipped where it's like, okay, Davis Schneider looks like a guy, and the analytics kind of back it up. But now you have the analytics department going like, no, actually, we need to stick with our ways. It's like it's almost reversed now. I think you said it to me good. You put it to me perfectly. There needs to be a balance of eyeball and analytics. Absolutely agree. Let's simplify it, and Davis Schneider's a perfect example of that.
100%. Now, I do want to get off the offense soon. However, I do need to bring up one more quick thing, guys. Double plays. Grounding into them. We got to stop. We got to stop, okay? Currently, we have 10 double plays grounded into. That is the 3rd most in MLB. We're behind the Yankees, actually, who we're going to talk about later. We're also behind the Miami Marlins, who are just terrible.
Interesting.
Yeah, we got to stop doing that because that's 10 separate times, 10 separate innings that we have just killed completely because we're grounding into double plays. There's some prime suspects here. I mean, Kirk's done it a couple times. Ernie Clement's done it a couple times. I feel like Guerrero's done it once or twice at this point. If we are going to keep grounding into double plays, there's 2 options here. One, either stop hitting the goddamn ball on the ground, or can we swipe a bag or 2, please?
Right.
Can we swipe a bag? No, we're not. No, we're not. We have 1 stolen base on the entire season. Should be
hitting here.
Yeah, go to hitting right there. We got 1 stolen base on the whole season. That should rank us.
Tied for second worst.
Tied for second worst, guys. Tied for second worst, everybody. I guess we're not as bad as San Francisco, who's tried it twice and who's got caught stealing twice. We've attempted 1 stolen base. We've got that stolen base.
KK
but
shut out.
We need to start doing something to eliminate these people from grounding into the double plays. Like at the end of the day, I'd rather you steal the base and get thrown out than ground into a double play because at least that's only 1 out. And I know that you're going to ground into the double play. You know, so we might as well shoot our goddamn shot here.
I think what needs to happen is the bottom guys absolutely need to steal. Varsho's on, you got to steal. IKF comes on, maybe not more of a guarantee of the steal, but at least try to pick your spot. Clement, if he's getting playing time, he's got to go. He's got one of the better legs in the team. Biggio, depending on where he's hitting in the lineup, maybe pick your spot as well. But Dalton Varsho, and he did take off when Davis Schneider did make that that home run to save it on Tuesday. And KK, for example, he did get the stolen base. We need to get more. And not to say that we're going to be a stolen base team threat. We're not going to be in the top of the league in stolen base. It's just not going to happen. We don't have the guys to do that at all. But at least get out of what you're saying, the double play situation. I saw us try to do a hit and run with IKF. Me personally, maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe I'm wrong. I hate the whole hit and run mentality because the pitching is way harder nowadays to get a piece of contact off in play. All right. And B, we were chasing all over the place and they weren't even throwing in the zone. So they're not even coming at us. You're trying to get a hit and run, and I can't end up chasing one way outside the zone, trying to get a hit and run. It just wasn't good. Like, what if he missed that? It was high upstairs. What if he got up and threw it? He's thrown out. It's just not a good thing. We need to cut that out. But I think what we need to do more is the stealing. And total side note, bunting? Are we just not going to bunt at all, especially with KK? We was at the bottom of the lineup. He had a bunt opportunity the other game, and he just didn't do it. Kind of confusing when we're not scoring runs.
Well, at the end of the day, the offense has just been terrible, and I think that everyone needs to take this off day to settle in and come up with a game plan for New York. So, something that is analytically based, but also based on the eyeball test and working with your body here, because whatever we were doing was not working.
We got to work together. I don't know the conversation. I'm not privy to the conversation in the dugout. But you got to start talking, okay, this was apparently they're having meetings as a team. Like, the hitters are all getting together.
They should be.
They should be. Last year they weren't.
Yeah.
Like, now they're actually having regular meetings as a hitting unit. Everyone play to your strengths. Don't try to copy and paste one strength that everyone's going to try and do. That's not how you're going to win ball games. That's not what Don Mattingly's way of baseball is. You got to play to your strengths, but then in the game, okay, we know Marcus Stroman, for example, he's going to throw a lot of sinkers. Let's look down. Wait a minute. He's pumping in the four seam. He's going high. He's trying to get us out. Let's recognize that. He's doing it early. Let's talk about this on the bench. Have this conversation going. I don't know if they're already doing that, but we got to start working together and realizing that what's the mid-game adjustment we have to do. We have to see that. We haven't seen that this year.
No, nobody's making any mid-game adjustments, and it begs the question, who is responsible right now? And to ask that question in a more thorough fashion, I'm actually going to throw it over to Sophie Shipton right now, guys. She sent in a video question. We are going to answer it. Here she is.
Hi Nick and Adam, it's Sophie here. I'm loving the show as always. You guys do an incredible job. I just wanted to ask you a quick question about our offensive problems. I've seen a lot of people saying it's still game 7, it's still early. However, we got no hit on Monday by a guy who made his 8th career MLB start. And we only got 1 hit last night thanks to Dalton Varsho. And these offensive problems have been going on since last season. Even with the playoffs, we were ranked 14th in home runs, which is absolutely incredible. So I just wanted to ask you a quick question. Who has to take more responsibility for these offensive problems? Is it Shatkins? Is it the management, John Schneider and Don Mattingly, or do the players have to take some responsibility for it as well? I would love to hear your thoughts on it.
Great question, Sophie.
Shout
Thank you for sending that in.
We appreciate that, guys. And a quick shout out to all of you as well. We want to start including this more in our Friday shows, especially. So send us your questions. Videotape yourself sending a question about the Toronto Blue Jays or even a rant. We'll even take a vent session. If you send us a minute of yourself just venting about something, we will take that as well. We want to showcase the community. That was a great question, Sophie.
That was.
I would like to put out there that John Schneider needs to take a hell of a lot more accountability. And I am going to reference the fact that after we got no hit, excuse me, by Ronel Blanco, the dude making his freaking 8th MLB career start. After we got no hit there, my guy comes out, this isn't verbatim, this isn't word for word, comes out and says, I'm happy with where we're at right now offensively. What the fuck was, no, seriously, what are you doing?
Really?
You know what I mean? You take any one of those players, you take George Springer, you take Guerrero, you take, name me someone. You tell them to come out here and say, how are you feeling with the offense after you got no hit? Everyone will be the first to say, we got to be better. That was terrible. My at-bats were gross. Everyone will say that. Why can't you say that? I understand that you got to support the team. I understand that it's only 7 games into this thing, but that was a terrible offensive showing the entire series long. He's got to, at least for me anyways, come out and acknowledge that we were bad and we got to do better than that.
Yeah, John Schneider is I'm just kind of making up this term right now. He's a media manager. He just says whatever it is he needs to say so I can go home. He doesn't really want the game's over. We'll be fine. We're all good. We're happy. Positive. Like everything's fine. Let's sell tickets. Let's sell merchandise. Team's gonna be good. I don't like it. I want a manager who could take responsibility. I agree with you to pick something different. I mean, the other options Sophie kind of gave me, and I think it is true. The only other options is it Shatkins or is it the players? Well, based on the first 7 games, I'm going to say it's the players because Shatkins thought they were going to do better than this, right? The averages and the OPSs is not 100 or mid 100, so it's got to be the players. The players got to do a lot better. And again, I brought this up a few times already, but they've gone away from their approach completely. They've gone away from their strengths. Varsho, I can point out, not Justin Turner. His strength is amazing. I put the barrel on the baseball, and I keep doing that.
100%.
Bo's been a little bit hurt, so I'm going to give him a free pass. He's got a longer leash. Vladdy, he actually has had a very good approach selecting pitches. He's just not making contact. I actually have a little bit more faith in him to bounce back sooner. It's a lot of the guys in the bottom part of the order, I find. They got to do a lot better in making better contact, making better decisions, right? Some people in the top part of the order, their talent can bail them out. The guys in the bottom half, they definitely got to do a lot better making the decisions and getting on base, hitting the ball with authority when it's your pitch. So, yeah, that's where I'll put a little bit of blame too.
Yeah, effectively everyone is the answer to that question, Sophie. Now, we did get one more submission here. This is from our guy Dylan out there in Ottawa, as he will tell you. What does he have to say?
Well, this is what he got. I got flash over our thing right here because I don't want to show our whole chat, but here it is.
Hey, guys. Dylan from Ottawa here with 2 questions for you. Why should I have any hope for this offense when, through the first 7 games, it looks like the exact same offense as last year? Second question, do you guys think you drink more beers when the Jays are winning or losing? Thank you.
Good question,
That's,
Dylan.
that's a great question.
Good question.
I'd actually like to so we'll answer the first question first, but the second question that he has there, answer in the chat. What do you do? More beers when they're up or more beers when they're down? Now, the question that Dylan is saying, can't hear him. Okay, well, effectively, effectively what he asked was, why should I have any faith in this offense when all we're seeing is that they could be worse than last year? And I do think that there's a lot of good questions there. Do you have any dagger points here to give somebody, instill someone with a lot of faith?
Literally, the most famous 2 words you can give to anybody who's a baseball fan. Want to take any guesses? Maybe there's an apostrophe in there, so maybe it's a conjunction. It's early.
It's okay. I was gonna say be patient.
No, that's probably right. Yeah. Right. It's early. I mean, these guys aren't batting 176 the entire season. If they did, you blow the whole team up. It's gone now, and that's not what's going to happen. It's early. You shouldn't have faith that they're going to be better. I would never convince you. I mean, I tried to do it preseason, but I think we got to temper our expectations just a little bit and have faith that they're going to do better than this. And what I was referring to doing better is better than 2023. They're going to do better than this. So let's have faith, and when they do better, they're going to explode. They're going to be batting 300. They're going to have the OPSs in the 1,000. They're going to have a 3-homer week. So they're going to do better because that's baseball, right? There's so many games, and it's so easy for us to go, oh, yeah, there's so many games. But it doesn't feel like anything because it's the future and it's not the now. What we're seeing is the now, and it's really, really painful. We got to have some patience. So that's what I would tell somebody to keep on with the faith of the Toronto Blue Jays. And we're lucky. 3-4. We should be 2-5. We're lucky we're still in this.
We absolutely should be for sure, guys. I mean, I would argue that we're probably the worst 3-4 team out there, which actually, is a sad thing to say.
There was a stat. I think we're tied with the Mariners 3-4, and we have the same run differential, -14, tweeted by I think Bob Nightingale.
Okay.
We were in the bottom.
Well, shout out. That's definitely tough, everybody. Also, check in the chat right now. I guess not a whole lot of people actually heard the whole beer question, but it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Effectively, what the question was: do you drink more when they're up or when they're down? We talked about this off camera. It was decided that we drink more when they're up just because there's a little bit more hype. It's just, it gets sad when they're down bad,
As soon as the game's over, if I'm already drunk, I go to bed. But if they win, I'm thinking about postseason right now. Like in a regular season, probably not so much. Doesn't really imply probably the same amount of drinks. But in the postseason, it's if they win, I'm continuing. I'm continuing the party.
100%, 100%. That is the section right now, guys, where we're having people come in, call in. We want to do that next week as well, so please take the time. We got our email in the description there. If you're following us on Twitter as well, send us a message, or on Instagram or anything like that. If you want to do a video or a voice note, either are good. We'd really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Let's give a shout out to the sponsor of this video.
You're frozen.
Every day, best place to bet is on Betway. Must be 19 years of age or older to play. In collaboration with iGaming Ontario, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content.
Shout out to Betway, everybody, for being absolutely phenomenal. Let's take a look over at that New York Yankees series, guys, and decide, what are we going to be doing here? Are we betting on the Jays to bounce back? Are we betting on the Yankees to go wild? Because they're off to a pretty hot start. What do we got in Game 1?
Well, just for everybody, reminders, they're 6-1 right now, the New York Yankees. They're on a scorcher, and we're so much not on a scorcher. So over at Game 1 tomorrow, it's going to be at 1 o'clock. We're going to be live, everybody, on the YouTube. So check it out. If you're off work or you're at work, you want to put us on in the background. If you don't have the game, we will feed you all the commentary you need. So check it out, 1 o'clock tomorrow. Yusei Kikuchi making his second start of the season. Got a little bit roughed up by the Tampa Bay Rays, but he's going up against those dangerous, dangerous Yankees. The one good thing, and the Marcus Stroman's going to be for the Yankees, who look good in his first outing. The one thing I want to note is you got Juan Soto, who's a lefty, going up against Yusei Kikuchi. Not like it matters, because Soto will hit everybody.
Yeah.
But at least it's something, that we can look forward to. It's hard to predict this offense right now. It's very hard to predict. I was kind of joking to Nick, walking back. We were just checking out a studio today. We were walking back from it, and I was saying, hey, wouldn't it just be so nice if they just blew Marcus Stroman up and just put up a 10 spot and they looked amazing and all of this was forgotten. That'd be nice. But right now, based on what the team is doing, I can only hope for, half of that, right? And with only hoping for half of that, with how the New York Yankees are playing, how Yusei Kikuchi's been pitching, I'm feeling like the odds and the playbooks would also say that the Yankees are going to take this one here.
100%, dude. We need to see another 8-2 W or 9-2 win or something where everybody comes out and just looks alive, looks electric, and steals the fan base with confidence. Because you're right, it is impossible to really predict anything after that last series. That last series was atrocious, some of the worst baseball that I've seen this team ever play. And when we have the second worst batting average in the entire MLB, how can I predict anything right now? Yusei Kikuchi is also far from a sure thing, as much as we love him and as much as we want that cooch to get freaking loose.
We gotta wear those tomorrow.
We are gonna.
We're getting loose,
we
guys.
are gonna. But yeah, no, I got to agree with you. Like, it's probably it's gonna be a tough one there. I'll say that we take the L, just based off of recency bias alone. But I really want to beat the Yankees.
Me too, man. I mean, they look like a wagon. They sweep the Astros. If anyone forgot at this point, they swept them in the first series they played.
And then we got embarrassed by the Astros.
So where does that put us?
Tough to know.
This is what baseball is, though. If we actually win this series in some reality, where we win this series, that's baseball for you.
Yep.
Changes all the time.
Exactly. Game 2, you're going to have Clark Schmidt. For all those OGs out there, you already know what's going to happen with me.
Gonna be
and I imagine this is going to be Bowden Francis, right?
Kevin Gausman.
Kevin Gausman here.
Yes,
Okay, so they're going to be moving him up. My mistake, actually. That was how everything went down. So, yeah, Kevin Gausman against Clark Schmidt. That's a lot better for me.
Yes, it is.
I saw, again, shout out to Sophie, always making the great comments here, saying that the one guy that she is looking forward to watching this weekend is Kevin Gausman to start. And I do agree with you. I imagine he's going to have a little bit more length,
a little longer,
right? Because he was around 70, 75 last time. Pitches out there, so if you can get it up to the 90 pitch range, it's a possibility that he could go 5 or maybe even 6. So this one feels a lot better for me. If we're gonna win anyone, it's got to be on the back of a Kevin Gausman 6 scoreless or something.
That's exactly right. And, also to know for the series, guys, we're not going to be getting Jordan Romano and Swanson back. We're hopefully looking to get them back for the Seattle series. So, we got to hope that, the Kikuchi start, if what we're saying, if he's getting beat up early, we hope we save some guys to come in for Kevin Gausman, give us some length. Yeah, this does feel like the most probable matchup. I'm going to say we're going to win one game in this series, and it's going to be this one, guys. It's going to be this one. Schmidt could bounce back and have a great start, too. I mean, I was saying to you, again, on our way back from the studio today, I was like, well, I was telling you about this matchup, like, well, Schmidt's on the mound, and you were like, well, Blanco was on the mound on Monday.
I know.
So anything could happen, but
Anything could happen.
We faced Schmidt before, though, so it's not like this guy's unknown to us.
Yeah, 100%. No, I mean, this one does feel like one of the ones that the Toronto Blue Jays could win for sure if they are going to win one. Again, it all comes on the back of the offense, though, right? Like, you're not winning anything with one hit. So we just have to hope and assume that the Toronto Blue Jays are going to be able to put up some runs against the New York Yankees because, yeah, offensively speaking, what they did in Houston just isn't good enough. So
yeah, little breakdown here. Guerrero, I like this. Guerrero against Schmidt. He hasn't been that good. Actually, a lot of our guys haven't been that
250,
good.
875 OPS. It's not terrible.
Need a homer? Must have been like a 1-run or 3-run homer.
Yeah, something like that.
Know, Bichette, same. Oh, home run.
Yeah,
I thought this was hit. My bad.
Yeah.
I thought these were hits. Okay. You
Yeah.
got Bichette going good. Maybe this starts to get something cooking for the boys.
Yeah.
Maybe get something cooked. Turner's been damaging him.
Destroyed Schmidt in his career. That's something. Even Varsho has done well against him.
Okay. This is the game where we turn everything around. Won't be game one.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm curious now that I found this little thing. What are we against Stroman?
Guerrero kills Stroman. It's got to be a small sample size.
Yeah.
Yeah, very small sample size here against Stroman. So
Kiermaier.
tough to know.
Kiermaier when
35.
When he was playing for Toronto when he was in Tampa Bay.
Well, that's actually a decent slash though for Kiermaier against
very
Stroman.
good.
That's pretty good for him.
Okay, Justin Turner, we see you. Okay, maybe there's a little bit of hope in these first two games.
Light at the end of the tunnel here.
A little bit of light.
Yeah, some of the guys have done well against them in the past. So this will be Bowden Francis up against Gill, who had a pretty solid start for the Yankees in his first outing.
He's good.
Yeah. I mean, doesn't matter for the Jays, right? They'll make bad guys look good, and sometimes they'll make good guys look bad. It feels like that's the way with this team. This one, though, for me, if we're going to put anything on the pitching, like this does feel like, not great, because I know Bowden Francis in spring training looked phenomenal, but my goodness gracious, that guy got shelled in Houston. And I felt bad for him to the point where it's like, I literally kept saying this. I was like, starting him in Houston in that first game, that is so goddamn difficult. That's so much pressure, especially after they got swept by the Yankees. What happens? The guy gets completely blown up. We lose that game 10-0. It wasn't all his fault because we got no hit. But, I mean, like, a pretty terrible start nonetheless.
And I was listening to Blair and Parker, shout out to those guys, and Kevin was saying on the show, because I like to see what they see, like from a person who's been in the game for a very long time. And what they saw was they had a clear game plan. Hit the fastball. Doesn't matter where it's thrown. A lot of those fastballs were off the plate, high and inside. Not even a strike. But they said, hey, it's pretty straight. He'll attack it early. He's not throwing the fastball low. He wants to throw the curveball low. He throws the fastball high. So just get ready to hit it.
Yeah.
And look what they did. So hopefully, Bowden, and he said this, he wants to incorporate a lot more low fastballs to make that splitter work a little bit more too, and the curveball work a little bit more. So I think that's what we got to look for. But is he going to do that against Juan Soto and Aaron Judge and the Red Hot Yankees? No, I don't think so. I think we're going to lose this one and only pick up one game in this series.
It does feel like the Toronto Blue Jays are walking into something in the Bronx where if they can even just escape with one win, we're feeling good. It feels like this team, just based on the way that they have played, is a 4-6 squad.
Whoa! Time for your daily Betway breather. A quick reminder that the best place to bet is
to Betway, everybody.
I gotta remember to turn it off when it's a whole technical thing, guys. We need a producer.
For real.
I'm trying to talk to you guys, and I've got to produce.
Well, listen, if there's any producers out there that are interested, email Blue Jays today.
Yeah.
But speaking of Betway, that actually brings us to our final segment of the show, guys. We got to come up with a bet for this final series against the New York Yankees. I know that we both got some. I am rocking with the New York Yankees in Game 1, having the highest scoring inning. At the end of the day, guys, this just comes down to the fact that our offense looked terrible. Their offenses looked amazing. This feels like a shout, and Yusei Kikuchi has had a history of when he does get hit, having it really get away from him in one inning. So
yeah, this
feels like a good shout for me.
I mean, if you guys are unfamiliar with the Betway, how they do their lines, it's a multiplier. So 2.05. You put $10 on there, you're getting back $20.50. That's a $10.50 win. That's a pretty good line. I like it. Mine is very somewhat. It's about scoring runs. It's the Yankees. They're going to win this game with Marcus Stroman on the mound and Yusei Kikuchi. They're going to win it by 2. You know, I don't think that's a really blasphemous thing to say. If they're going to win, they're going to win it by a good margin with that offense.
Yeah. It's so right now we're effectively all on the Yankees train in Game 1, guys. I really hope that we're wrong because again, if the Toronto Blue Jays offense, let's just paint this picture, right? Go to Fantasyland. If you walk into the Bronx after the series that you just put up in Houston, after the Yankees are red hot, being 6-1, if you walk into the Bronx and somehow you find a way to win that series, you win 2 out of 3, or oh my gosh, sweep them,
oh my god,
and you do it in commanding fashion. Everything's forgiven. We're all the way back. This is just baseball, blah, blah, blah. But if you walk in there and, it's 3 games of embarrassing offensive performances and, we just squeak away with 1, there's going to be a lot of questions walking into Monday, let me tell you.
Yeah, I mean, that's baseball. Then what happens? Let's go down the fantasy land where we do sweep them. Then when we go back home and we get swept and our offense looks bad. Then what's the conversation?
I don't know fucking idea.
What's the identity of this team? I love, actually, someone was bringing that up. One of the Blue Jays podcasters was like, what is the identity of the Blue Jays? Hell if I know if that was the case. And right now, the identity, I think they're searching for something. They're searching. They're lost.
We don't know
They
yet.
don't know who we are. We don't know who we are.
We really have no idea yet. It does feel, though, like it's an on and off switch, guys. And one day we're on, one day we're off. And sadly, up until this point, most days we have been off.
I could be wrong about this, but going back to the whole, them not able to adjust to the game plan, I think they only win when the other team doesn't adjust or kind of trick them with the scouting report. Because, if you look at the no-hitter, came out and threw over 30% change-ups out of nowhere. That tricked us, but we didn't make a change. We're like, oh, well, we can't keep throwing them, can he? Yeah. Well, of course he's going to keep throwing them. You guys keep swinging over top of them. Why would you stop, right? So whenever we go into a game and it's like, okay, Marcus Stroman's going to throw sinkers down and in. Oh, he's doing it. Oh, it's working. Oh, it's working. And then Marcus is like, doesn't make a change, which Marcus is a good player. He probably will make a change. So that's why it's such a weird thing, man. That's how I view them, where it's like, we're just going to play this one strategy the entire game. It's like John Schneider, actually. We're going to play this one strategy and not use our eyeballs and just go with the math. And we got to be able to use our eyeballs with the players and with the management, man. That's how I feel.
Is that a coaching thing? Is that a player thing? Is that a personnel thing? We have no idea, guys. Probably all of the above. Folks, you know what? Let's finish off on a mildly positive note here, guys. Rogers Center Renovations, they came out with some pictures today.
Yeah.
I mean, things are looking good. Things are looking nice. You were saying we got like a brick wall, but, now. So, look at that's kind of exciting.
Backstop, man. I mean, some people said it looked ugly. I mean, I got to see it on TV. I think it's kind of cool. It's new. We've had kind of the same backstop for the last however many years since I've been watching the baseball, and it's cool. I don't even know, is that real brick? That is
tough to tell.
If that is real brick, that ball's gonna bounce back hard.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it can't be real brick because if it gets hit by a baseball that's traveling 90 miles per hour,
there's there's ballparks that have brick back there.
That's gonna break the brick.
Yeah, brick's pretty strong. You'd be surprised.
Wow. Okay. That would shock me. But either way, guys, forget about the offense. Forget about the Toronto Blue Jays woes. The arena looks good.
The dugout's got cool new designs of Rogers, and it's got a little red paint up there.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Dugout looks good.
Look at the new left field line, everybody.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah. For real. Mark Shapiro is doing a great job there, guys. Rogers Center looks good. They have new food offerings that'll cost you an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
So don't worry about the state of this team because
open up your wallets. That's
we
all you gotta
got
worry about.
Renovations.
Just open up those wallets.
That's what's important.
Worry about how many times you're going to tap that credit card on those machines at the Rogers Center.
Folks, thank you so much for tuning into this Blue Jays Today show. We're going to be live tomorrow for the game against the New York Yankees at 1 in the afternoon. If you're at work, you're at school or something like that, tell us on the background,
Yeah.
Should tune in. Maybe we're really up. Who knows? Maybe it's going to be away tomorrow.
Dude, if we win tomorrow, what a roller coaster, man. We're down, but then here comes the next big up. But then get ready for the drop, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I did want to give a shout out here to our Patreon members, guys. And as well, we got to give a shout out to the YouTube members. You see a lot of familiar faces in the chat. We've got the little thumb, the foam fingers in the chat. Shout out, thank you to all you guys for being such great members of the show.
You guys are the best. As always,
Go Jays, go!